Have an iPad.
So, Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Hope you're excited. This is really it's a cool event idea, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy it because I'm really interested in hearing what everyone here has to say. And I would just say to speakers, by the way, when you speak, you're speaking not just to hear. I'm recording this, and I'm going to publicize it because I think it's very valuable. What everyone's going to share tonight is something people need to hear. There's really hundreds of young people in our community that are out there trying to figure out what their next step is in life. And it's valuable to hear other people and their stories. It gives you ideas. That's just really how it works. I was speaking to somebody this week. Very few people have a good fortune that from like a young age they know exactly what they want to do. You know, it's the chidim. Hashem gives them a certain gift. You know, they just, they knew from when they were 15 years, whatever age it was, they just knew, I want to be this. For the most of us, Hashem doesn't make us that way. Hashem, do I want to be this? Do I want to be that? Do I want this type of job? Do I want that type of job? It's, it's a journey that we go through, and it's helpful to hear other people, how they got into what they got into, and just, what it's like in that industry. It just broadens your horizons, and it helps you, build up a picture for yourself, what maybe you'd be interested in. That's what the purpose of tonight's event is, and I'm very thankful to all of the presenters that are here tonight. They're all people that have the same background as you, went through the same system and community as you, and Baruch Hashem, they're finding Haslacha in their different respective industries, and they were nice enough to give of their time to come tonight. And so what we're going to do is two parts, like we mentioned in the marketing. First, each of them will speak for maximum 5 minutes. I'm actually going to sit over there and I'll give you the heads up. If you maximum 10 minutes. Between 5 and 10 minutes is your time frame. We just want to keep it concise this way, everyone. And then it really depends. Maybe we'll just do open Q&A as opposed to tables Q&A. It depends on how things evolve afterwards. So either we'll do like open Q&A, or each person will take a table and we'll do it that way. We'll call it as we go. But let's get started. So I didn't really tell anyone. Well, I guess we'll just start from the right and we'll move to the left.
Thank you. That's great.
Did you always run in Yiddishkeit? We start from the right. So Levi Gross, who I met him actually. The first time I met him was like 5 years ago. No, at the Parnassa Expo. Was that 5 years ago? And they made this big business expo in New Jersey, and they had a pavilion on cybersecurity. And I walked in, and the two teachers were two Lubavitchers, and Levi was one of them. He's somebody who went through the same yeshiva system, and he had an interest in tech, and he's built it up into something very special. And he's here tonight to share with us the journey, which is more and more, it's becoming a more and more popular career field. In the world is becoming a technological world, and more people from our community are finding haslacha in coding, programming, cybersecurity, graphic design. I mean, anything that's within the tech sphere. So, it's very broad, and even though Levi is specifically focused on a particular area, but he'll share with us his journey. Thank you very much, Levi.
My name is Levi Gross. I went through the same system that we all did. Grew up in Los Angeles, California. Went to Mesivta and Oral Chanan, went to Zal and Migdal, and all finished in Kashlufis and Alitera. And I did Smicha in 770. And after I was finished Smicha, I always had a passion for technology on the side. It would be the thing that I would use to relax after a long day. And I figured I would go into the job world, so I just worked on a few side projects and learned a few things, and kind of just pushed myself to read a little bit more about certain things and pushed myself to implement certain things. And I came here to New York, and I got a job at a startup, still around, called Axial Market, as a senior software engineer. Now, if you're asking yourself how someone can, with almost no experience, walk in and become senior, it's quite simple. Senior doesn't mean that you sat and worked in a company for a long time. It means that you have the experience, the knowledge. So having built certain systems, I had that experience, or at least that the interview decided that I had that. And I went from a senior software engineer to a lead developer within about 6 months. But I was always excited about security because it appeals most to someone that has spent a lot of time learning Gemara, because it involves really understanding what you use, not just taking things for granted, and also understanding things from many different aspects. So after I became the lead engineer, I was then recruited by a security consulting company, which was then bought by another security consulting company, which is now the largest security consulting in probably the East, definitely the East Coast, probably the world, called the NCC Corporation. And I spent 2 years there refining my security capabilities and learning the ins and outs of the security industry, of which, you know, from the outside it looks really interesting, and the inside it's actually kind of layered on top of itself in a really interesting way. And where certain industries have been spawned by just documents of compliance. Anyone that bought something, here's this thing called PCI compliance. They don't know that it generates thousands of jobs and hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue for certain companies. Just because the payment card industry decided that it didn't want to foot the security bill. And after that, I was recruited to a company to run application security at Genesys. They do call center software. And from there, I was recruited to Squarespace, where I am now. And I'm primarily in charge of application security now. I work with all portions of the organization. I generally go dressed like this to work, and no one bothers me. So, you know, especially in the tech world, you'll see a lot of opinions and a lot of things. If I could leave you with one thing, it's the truer you are to yourself and to Yiddishkeit, the better off you'll climb.
But you know, before you sit down, just the cloud, what would your advice be to someone who wants to get into the tech world? How would they do that?
Okay, so when you want to get into the tech world, you have to identify which portion of the tech world you want to get into. There's the portions that are being outsourced, and then there's the portions that cannot be outsourced, or at least at the moment cannot be outsourced. The portions that are being outsourced are tech support, customer service. Those things are being all outsourced. There are unique corporations like Squarespace that actually has its own customer service, both here in New York, Portland, and Dublin, Ireland. But you want to avoid the tech support route. You want to get into either engineering or security or compliance. Compliance is kind of under security, but it can be on the side as well, because there are some software engineering compliance certifications. And you want to quickly become a master in whatever field you know. So when you look at something, never feel like you shouldn't know something. Try to go as deep as possible. So you're going to write a program, it's going to print something. You want to know why it prints something, how that program works, how that program runs, how the program is made up internally. And the more knowledge you have there, the better off you are. But don't let that stop you from actually moving forward. So don't sit on the first thing and say, okay, I have to go incredibly deep. Just never get complacent with what you know. And so if you're going to go into engineering now, I'd recommend learning how to build web applications. You can go to, they have these boot camps that people go to that cost money, or you can go online to Code Academy and teach yourself. Learn to program, and then you should be fine. If you want to go into security, so the security world is divided into essentially three states. The first one is compliance. You could just learn to check boxes. You get certain certifications, and companies automatically need to hire you. The salaries top out pretty nicely, but you won't be able to grow much in there. The second one is penetration testing. You'll have to learn how to break things, or at least how to secure things, but you don't need to know how to develop. You don't need to know how to program. The third one, the largest one, where there right now is technically unlimited growth, is when you learn how to develop and you know how to do the other two things combined. So knowing how to program, knowing how to ask the computer to give you stuff is kind of vital if you want to really grow in the security industry. You want to break in, compliance is your easiest place. You want to grow, you have to learn to develop. I think Q&A is going to be after.
Thank you.
All right. Next up is e-commerce. Right now, it's I would say it's safe to say Amazon, eBay, and all the other different platforms that are coming out have really changed the way we buy things. You know, years ago, you had to open a store, you had to get a physical location. There was certain challenges. Now, with these platforms, you could sell to the world from your basement. And it really has opened up a new frontier, and it's been a very, very exciting area that a lot of people from our community have gotten into. And it's relatively, there's lower startup costs associated with it. There's definitely challenges. It's not like, nothing in life you snap your fingers and unless Hashem sends you that special bracha. So to represent the e-commerce world and together with that wholesale, so we're blessed to have tonight Shirley Rissler, he started off in e-commerce and he dabbled in different platforms until he found the Derech, which is successful for him, and he's going to share with us a little bit of his thoughts. Thank you very much.
I know Ellen already did this, but this is, I just want to get a selfie. So for my customers, if they see me on a panel, it'll be a little bit more. Okay. So basically, first of all, you were saying that not everybody is blessed to know what they wanted to do from they were a little kid. Actually, when I was a little kid, from when I was as long as I can remember, I knew exactly what I wanted to be. A policeman. I kind of have to wiggle around. After that, I kind of have to wiggle around from industry to industry and try a million different things before hitting on this. Okay. How many people here sell on Amazon or eBay or website or anything like that? How many people know people that sell on Amazon or eBay? I think it pretty much speaks for itself. Exactly. Basically, I'm not here to tell you. I'm not an expert on the industry. I am I'm just another guy that's in the industry, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm passionate about and how I feel about it. I think that today there's absolutely no reason why every single person in this room is not selling on eBay and Amazon. I think everybody should be selling something. Well, it's up to you. If you want to have a career and go that kind of route, that's perfectly fine. I'm just saying if you're passionate and you want to start something up yourself or whatever, there's absolutely no reason why. It's never been easier. Just like you were saying. Used to be that if you wanted to sell something, if you're lucky you got a store on Kingston Avenue, you pay top dollar for rent, and and the maximum amount of people you're able to reach was however much foot traffic walked by. You got 2,500 people, that's great. If you weren't as lucky and you weren't able to get a store on Kingston Avenue, you went to Albany, so you're able to sell to 2,000 people. So you have to charge much higher prices because you only were able to reach that amount of people. How often are people buying a food blender? Not that often. So you got to charge high to make a nice profit. Today, you have 300 million customers, over 300 million customers in America alone. The ability to scale now is unbelievable. Like you can literally go from 0 to 60 in a year. Well, 0 to 60, that's a car term, but you can literally scale. You can go to the top in absolutely no time. With that comes challenges. Obviously, if you come to the top and you have no experience or whatever it is, you can try and figure things out. But there's obviously a lot of challenges. So, but the point is that, like I was saying, it used to be that if you wanted to open up a business, you had to put in $50,000 to get a store, to renovate it, or to make a restaurant, or whatever you were doing. Now you can absolutely start for zero cost. There's no overhead. You don't need no knowledge. All you're passionate about it and you're serious about it, that's all it takes. You just have to be a little bit comfortable. As Lubavitchers, I feel like we're all trained to be great salespeople, which in the e-commerce world doesn't really come into play as a salesperson because you're selling. The sales are already there. The customers are already there. Amazon has I don't know how many millions of hits every day. But the point is that but when it comes to we're big hustlers and we do mitzvahim, we're used to getting no's and we're used to negotiating with people to put on tefillin. I take that skill and when I talk to vendors, I use the same exact skill. I negotiate with them. As Lubavitchers, that we're built to be leaders. Sometimes we don't even realize it, but it's in our psyche. It's in our community. That's how our community was built. So you see somebody else doing something like this. Everyone knows somebody doing something in Amazon. There's absolutely no reason why any of you or us or me cannot be that person. Every single one of us can hit that $100 million a year in sales. Everybody really can. It's really that easy. It's not hard to start. It's not hard to get it launched. Okay. Well, let me actually do another survey here. How many people here have? How many people? you don't have to answer if you're not comfortable. How many people here are actually in debt?
No one.
Okay, good. You don't have to answer that. I'll get to why I'm asking. Anybody? How many people here have $1,000 that they can spare right now that they don't need for the next month? Okay. How many people have $5,000? These are the guys you're hitting up for donations. But no. So when I got started in this, basically, let me give you a little background about me. I'm typical Bacher. By the way, you're saying. Sorry to interrupt. You're saying that that's how you go to work. I also go to work like this every day, and nobody bothers me either. I was a typical Bacher. I think the Chabad system is amazing because like you go from being you go to Sifta, you go to Zal, and then you start doing like Mitzayim and Shluchas and all this Merker Shluchas. Then you go on Shluchas as a Bacher, and you're really like on top of the world because you're giving shiurim and you're teaching younger Bacherim and you're creating events in the community. And then you go to Smicha. I don't know if you went to Smicha program or not. And then you're really on top of the community. Now you're even telling the shliach how to run his place. Like you're really like on top of everything. Your Balbatim love you, and you're really like you're all in. Then you come to 770, and you just bam, you like hit. Nobody knows who you are. You're just another guy warming another bench in 770. Nope, I don't know. Okay, good. You're looking up. You're double taking. So that's exactly what happened to me. I felt like I was on top of the world when I was in Smicha. People loved me. I mean, I didn't learn any smicha, but like I felt like I felt like I was really gonna, hit a home run. And then my problem is that I hadn't planned what I was gonna do after smicha. Or put it this way, I had the opportunity to go work for a shliach, get a car, money, place to stay, and kind of have that route, or have a social life in Crown Heights. And I chose the social life. The problem is it didn't come with any money, car, or place to stay. So I kind of lived here, and I was irresponsible, and I didn't do something. And I didn't come to something like this, by the way, which is why I want to thank you for arranging something like this. And it's the reason why I agreed to speak, because if somebody just would have grabbed me and said, like, you got so much talent, why don't you just go do something? Don't sit around and do nothing. And I got into debt. I got into a lot of debt, $16,000 actually, exactly. To be in debt, and I was living from credit card to credit card, which is an amazing system. You get one credit card to pay the other one, and then you pull out another cash advance, and you're in debt another $1,000. That's basically what I did. So I did that for a while, for a few years, till I decided that's it. I'm going to get serious, and I decided to put on blinders. And everyone told me, don't do this. This is not going to work, and this is not going to work, and that's going to work. Everyone has an idea of what's going to work. I decided to, I'm just going to give it a shot. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to make that thing work. So, because if I didn't put on these blinders when I was in 770, sorry, I don't need to go on and on about this.
You're doing a great job, but I have to limit you.
Oh, okay, 2 minutes. All right. So basically, I put on these. I put on these blinders, and I hit the town running. I heard of a product that everyone by now knows about. It's called OtterBox. I heard about it through another friend, and apparently it's very popular. And apparently you can sell like 1,000 a day on eBay or Amazon or whatever if you have the right listing of your product. So this is where the passion and the balls came in. And I just went to Google, and I just looked for somebody that I called the first 1,000 people. I mean, I didn't get that far, but I just went to every single listing and called everybody that I could. Said, do you have this product? Do you have this product? Do you have this product? And until somebody said, yeah, I have this product, and it was at a price that I could actually break even on eBay. So I was like, hey, why not? Let me give it a shot. Get some feedback going or whatever. Fun. And then that led to I was in a couple of partnerships that didn't work out. But that basically led me to being in the wholesale game of things. So now what I do is we buy and sell and flip like wholesale closeouts. Like if a company is trying to get rid of 2,000 pieces, 5,000 pieces of something that's like end of life product, they're not going to make it anymore, and they just don't want to sell it in stores anymore. So they sell it to somebody like me, and we flip it and we figure out how to get rid of it. So that's basically how I got started in this industry and what I'm doing today. Right now I don't really do e-commerce anymore, so I don't mean to, but I spent a few years doing e-commerce, and my goal here tonight is really to make you passionate and see. Nobody raised their hand when he said about selling on eBay or Amazon, or like there's no reason. If you want to do something, there's no reason why you shouldn't. You can start in your mother's basement. I was in debt $16,000 when I started. My first wholesale deal was $10,000. I put it on another credit card. That's what I did. But I made $1,000 on that deal, so I went down $1,000 in debt. So that's basically what it is. I hustled it. That's all it is. I just want to make sure I cover everything that I want to talk about.
They only have 30 seconds.
What is it? I only have 30 seconds? What's your question? Anyway, basically, I'm happy to share with you anything. I don't consider myself an expert, but if I can share with you anything, any tricks or anything that I've learned along the way, I'd be happy to give it to you. If one person comes out of here tonight and ends up making money just because they decided to buy one thing from a Dan's deal and sell it on eBay and Amazon, I'd be very, very happy. Please go do that. I'll even pay you. I'll give you like $5.
By the way, that's a good technique to get started. That's what people do. They go on Dan's deals, they look for amazing deals, they buy a bunch of them, and then they turn around and they sell it on Amazon for extra, at the rated price. And they make a few dollars, and then they go recycle again until you find a unique product that you can sell more of. It doesn't always work, but it's a route that people try. Fine. Next. Thank you very much, Sruli. Moving along right now, I'd like to introduce our next speaker.
I did.
I would like to say that our next speaker is somebody who was at the very first CHY event. When we started this organization, it was 4.5 years ago. We did our first event, and he was here. He's a big fan of networking and of sharing, and he's somebody who's found a lot of hatzlacha in another industry that is relatively simple to get into. Right now in New York, it happens to be a boom, and that's real estate. There's a tremendous amount of development, unbelievable amount of development that's going on. The housing right now in Brooklyn, unfortunately for us, is just off the charts because it just makes it more, unfortunately because it's just so expensive to live here now. But there's a lot of opportunity in real estate, and on all levels. There's real estate brokering, and there's real estate investing, and so on and so forth. And we're going to ask Rabbi Reb Mendel Lipsker to please share with us his thoughts on real estate.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Wordy. I'm actually Scary, the oldest guy in the room here, as you see. Okay. Anyways, to get down to a story or what I could share with you, that's why I'm here today. And the reason I was looking at you, because this Richler in California, which is related to me, and then I have another cousin here, so talking about, you said a typical bocher. So I was also a typical bocher. It was related to Half a Crown Heights back in the day. And today, you don't know anyone, because things have changed. Baruch Hashem.
Real estate.
Also because of real estate, and the needs for real estate even more. The first of all, I've been a very fortunate person. At a very young age, I decided that I want to be an entrepreneur. And back in the day in the Holy Torah, I didn't even know what that word meant or how to spell it. But I knew, in my mind, I can't explain it, that I want to be a person that sells other people things that they need. Right? And I'm saying things that they need, not things that they don't need. And not to take advantage of other people. And it took me many, many years until very recently that I actually took a test to figure out what I'm really good at and what I'm not good at and what I like doing and it's available for anyone. There are cheap tests that are maybe free even you could take. They have more expensive ones. And you could tell, what's that?
Called the aptitude test.
Okay. And it's really, see, I still don't know what it's called, but I know what it does. And there's different kind of personalities. One, let's say if you see, let's say if you go into property, if I decide I want to invest personally in a property, some people have the fancy spreadsheets, and they know how to figure it all out, right? And then they have another individual, like me, and I come in, I make those numbers too, but I have it in my head in my own auditorial way, and I figure out if this thing makes sense or not. I can't explain how the numbers come, but they click, and I know if the deal is a good deal or not a good deal, right? But everyone has to do their own personality. Be yourself, not try to be someone else. And that's very, very important, okay? And keep your integrity as high as possible. There's a story that I just heard today, and it was online. Maybe many of you heard it before. There's a entrepreneur speaker His name is Kiwi, I think his last name is Bernhard from South Africa. Did you hear the story? Yes. The story was he was asked to speak at Microsoft. And the event, this is the short version, and the event was on Shabbos. And anyone who's Jewish is not going to speak on, I'm saying if they're from Orthodox community, from house, they're not going to speak on Shabbos, and they're going to be the first one to say no. And they offered him double money and triple money that he should speak on Shabbos. And they got very upset, and they had no choice because it was important for the event, and they switched it from Shabbos to Sunday. And this guy who spoke with him, he was a high executive to Bill Gates. Bill Gates was supposed to be at that event too. And when he gave over the details on a private jet flight that they had, and they were talking about a younger man from South Africa who didn't want to speak on Shabbos, and he kept his. And Bill Gates' comment was, that's when you have something that money can't buy, that's the most valuable thing. Maybe not in these exact words, but you have to deliver to another person something that they need, and look for their best interest. And you think that you can't make money if you look for their best interest, you could. And it's not because you're a nice guy, it's a selfish thing. If you're going to go try to think about their own interest and focus on that, money will come. I wrote down a few things of sort of what I've done and how I got involved with and what I was always thinking. That for sure at age 16 or less, I decided that I want to be an entrepreneur. And one of my first projects, first of all, I remember my first job was when I was in second grade. It's going to be short. No, you want me to focus on real estate, not on how I got there? Okay, so let me do that. Not a problem. I've done different things that led me to the real estate business, different shkacha process. And what happened was, once my wife was watching a show at late night, and this guy, his name was Carlton Sheets, and they said, order this course that could teach you how to invest in real estate. And I told my wife, don't buy it. She said, it's 30 days money back guarantee, don't worry. I said, you're not going to return it? She said, I will. But I was actually right. She didn't return it. And since I had it, whenever I was in my car, I was listening to real estate. Ways how to do with no money down and all kind of stories. In some places, there are ways how to do it, but the way they describe is not exactly the way how it works. And afterwards, I was in another business, and I had a client, and my client was investing in Philadelphia. At that point, I was not even close to the real estate business. So I said, maybe teach me. I was doing very well in that business. I said, teach me the real estate business. He was going, every Thursday he was going to Philadelphia, and I said, I'm going to go with you to Philadelphia, and I'm going to see how you invest, and I want to do the same thing. And slowly I started buying some properties, and I had equity in my house, because when I bought my house it was very low. I bought it about 15 years ago, and I paid $270 for my house. So.
Who's been very involved with CHYE and is a wonderful salesperson, and he's going to come share a few thoughts on the sales industry. Thank you, Zalman.
All right, good evening. How's everyone doing tonight?
Hey, good.
All right, so they give us iPads at work, and I'm still not sure how to use it. But luckily, I don't need to know how to use an iPad, so. My first question is, if I raise a hand, how many people have ever been in sales? 1, 2, 3, 4, not bad. How many people have not been in sales? All right, so like half the room has and half the room hasn't, right? I think that everyone in this room has sold something without even noticing. Now, from day one in your life, you're busy selling. Some of us are better at it, some of us not so much, but we're all selling. In other words, at a job interview, you're selling. When you try to convince a friend to do something for you or convince anyone of anything, you're selling. So basically, my outlook is I'm looking at a room full of salespeople. Mendy, you do sales on a day-to-day basis, technically. I mean, it's real estate, but you're selling. I mean, yes, if you sell on Amazon and eBay, maybe not so much, but at one point, in one form or another, you're trying to convince people to buy something or do some sort of business or do you something. So I was told to talk about the sales industry in general, right? So I like to look at sales as something that everyone needs to do. Whether you like it or not, you're gonna end up selling. So if you get into it, you're gonna eventually, even if you don't stick around for long, even if you do 6 months of sales, it's a skill that you'll use for the rest of your life. There are a lot of pros, similar to all the other industries over here. The pros for this in the sales industry is there's major potential, right? There's, for the most part, and I don't want to say that this is across the board, but almost any sales gig you'll do, the sky's the limit usually. As much as you'll sell, that's as much as you'll make. There's low barrier to entry. Someone once told me that a salesperson's an employed person. Funny. A salesperson is always employed. I have yet to meet an unemployed salesperson. You will always have a job. Every company needs sales on some level. Yes, there are a certain percent of companies that, somehow it happens automatically. There's still, I would still like to say that 80% of companies out there still at one point or another need a selling process to make money, and it's what drives their company. Additional pro, even if you're at a company doing sales, even if the company's hurting, you're the last person to lose your job. No one's going to shoot themselves in the leg and cut out the one thing that's bringing in money into the company. It's very good for firm people. There are flexible hours, right? That's usually as long as you're producing. That doesn't mean that you could get a sales job, show up once a week. I'd pretty much tell you that any company, if you come in there, you show up one day a week, but you're their top producing salesperson, no one will ask you what you're doing, why you're doing it, or how you're doing it. They're just happy that they're making money. The cons, the downside is it's blood, sweat, and tears. It's really hard. There's no easy money. Generally, you're going to work hard every single day. You're going to learn something new every day because every sale you do is different than the sale you did yesterday. Each person will interact with you different. Each person can be convinced of whatever it is that you're selling, assuming that you know what it is that they want. And that varies from person to person. I currently do credit card processing, and I'm sure a lot of you have friends that do that. Initially, I started by selling on pricing. Then I focused on just what does the customer want. And when you get to that point, all of a sudden you realize that you can pretty much sell to anyone as long as you give them what they want. So you're learning something new every day. Just when you thought, I try to sum people up when I walk in the door, and then I realize, you know what? I got this all wrong. So I'm learning new stuff every day. You need a lot of self-motivation because sales, you have, if you have a job 9 to 5, 9 to 6, or whatever normal hours are, whenever normal people work, you're told what to do, and you have to do it from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and you go through the motions and you're done. You go home. The thing about sales is that if you're not going to get out and make the first point of contact, right, and ask someone to buy your product, you're not going to sell. So you need to be very, very motivated, which is why it probably isn't for everyone. The toughest part about sales is you have to be okay with daily rejection. People will tell you no over and over again. I hear the word no probably 100 times a day, but it all pays off when you hear one yes. And I'd like to add something to the pros is that the rush of closing a deal is like a drug, and I'm sure Mendy can probably relate to that as well.
The drugs part?
Not the drugs, not specifically the drugs, but when you close a real estate deal, when you close a deal, it's that feeling of like, because sometimes you're
It's not just
working
the
on
money.
one. Yes, it's not just the money. You know, I've closed small deals, I've closed massive deals. It's all of a sudden this feeling of like, wow. And my industry is when they put their signature on that piece of paper, like, wow, did they really? I can't say did they really just do that, but like there are points in every single deal that you're pretty sure it will never happen. I would say stuff to look out for if you're looking for a sales job, and this is important. Company history. Look at a company that's stable. I have to backtrack on what I said before, that salespeople are always employed. Just be careful that it's not by a brand new company. And the reason is if you need to sell a brand new product to market, while there are no competitors, the company may not be as stable as you think it is. So I would suggest, at least if you want to, it'd be terrible to turn around in 6 months and see a company that you put in your blood, sweat, and tears disappear. So go for a company that's stable, meaning say, hopefully they have 5 employees, hopefully they have a few dollars in the bank and they're not run out of a basement. Unless they're any Amazon company, which I don't get where sales coming over there, but I'm sure it does at a certain point. Sorry. Oh, they said passwords for us. I don't even know that. I like to ask myself if it's a product that everyone will use, right? So for the most part, there's certain salespeople that love selling obscure products. I would suggest that you focus, if you decide to go into sales, that you focus on a product that everyone uses. It could be housing, it could be food. Think about something that every day you wake up, you know, someone told me that, death, taxes, and there's like 3 things that are short on life or whatever. Try to get into an industry that there's no industry that will last forever, but there are certain stuff that people need today. They probably will need it in 5 years from now, and hopefully 10 years from now. Another important thing: ask friends that work in that industry. How hard is it to close a deal in that industry, right? Because occasionally you're going to hear, and I can point to any industry out there, you're going to hear about 1 or 2 people making a ton of money doing one thing, does not have any skin in the game. They're basically telling you to go out there and sell, but they're not willing to take any risks. So they're saying, put in all the risk, you bring in deals, we'll give you money, which is great, and some people can do that, but I would suggest, at least, especially if you have living costs. If you're living at home, then why not give it a shot? But for the most part, I would suggest looking at sales jobs that either offer one of 2 things. It's either usually salary plus commission, or draw plus commission. And draw essentially means it's technically a loan from the company until your commissions cover the money that they laid out. And generally, really, is back to what I said before, that only stable companies can offer that, and that's also a good indicator whether or not you want to work for them, because if they don't have, several $1,000s to put out to keep you there for 3 months, 6 months, I would say keep looking. I hope I was able to help someone here, and feel free to come after or ask me any questions. All right?
Thank you very much, Doctor. Very thoughtful. And I just add one thing more, just from watching the sales people in the sales industry. It has a lot to do with also being passionate about the product that you're selling. That's something. Sales is challenging, but if you're really into something, if you really love a certain product, your passion will push you. That's how you make the sales. If you just took some lame sales job that you don't really believe in, you won't last very long. Thank you very much. That is moving along from sales. CHYE really is all about entrepreneurship. That's what we started to inspire people to think about entrepreneurship and to assist those that are entrepreneurs on their pathway. And it's actually, Hashgacha brought this, I was excited that Mendy agreed to come speak. It happens to be that about a year after we started, we started a counseling program where we have a business counselor on staff that helps people with their new startup issues. And it happens to be that the very first person that met with our counselor, now Baruch Hashem, we have met with over 500 people, I believe, since we started, in 3 years since the program is going. But the very first person was Menachem Leni. And it's interesting, the thing is, at the time, it was just this raw idea, and it was, the truth is, when I heard about it, it was just like some out of the left field idea. But he was passionate about it, and he turned this out of left field idea into a tremendous business right here, a real entrepreneur in this neighborhood, just a regular guy just like you, and he's going to share a little bit about that. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, Rabbi Wardy. I think I'm in the wrong industry. After all you guys talking, I feel like I want to buy houses and just sell stuff on Amazon. I want to buy houses and just have people doing Amazon. I mean, a little security on the side. Not so much security, but okay. Yes, I feel like everyone here has represented their industries incredibly. So, and I can talk for all of us here, just to put in perspective. Like when you're in yeshiva, so obviously sleeping until 11 o'clock is a given, and then, wow, baby. That's right, okay. The point is, for all of us as an entrepreneur, but I'm sure you as well, you guys are all entrepreneurs, you wake up in this morning and you're passionate about something, it's a different level, it takes over your life. I mean, like, when I get up in the morning, there's no like, should I go back to bed? You get up and you start running. Like I'll walk and my wife will be like, hey, Menachem, you don't have clothing. You're just walking down the block. Get back in and get dressed. Like you're so excited to hit the pavement every single day because you're passionate about what you're doing. It's a wonderful life to live in. It doesn't give meaning. Chassidus gives meaning, but almost. Right? It's so exciting. You have this energy that you never had, or I didn't have. You did in 770, keeping the warm benches. But for me, this is like, it was like, wow. And there goes, okay.
Wow.
Right. That's
Amazon.
Okay. The outer box you were talking about. So what?
I can sell you a phone.
There you go. Little sales mix. I like it. Oh, wow. So the point is that it's so, I don't know how to describe it. It takes over your life and it's incredible. It gives you it's just next level. It's not euphoric, it's, okay. The point is, it's incredible, and if you become passionate about anything, if it's sales or real estate, like you're saying, doing the rush of the deal, or becoming an entrepreneur, it'll take over your life, and it will just give you a whole nother level, another experience that I don't think everyone has. Entrepreneur, right? Hard word to spell, like you said, hard word to say it slowly. Seashells on a seashore, okay. The point is, let's talk about myself a little bit. I started a company called joinbuggy.com. Actually, the company was called Ranat. We started off, the company was called Ranat and Hemshech. And then we did Ayin Beis, Samachwal. If you go to our corporations, there are like a list of like 20 corporations. They're all like Hemshechem. That was my inspiration, starting off. Talking to their counselors, this is what I got. Thank you, Ray Wardy, for giving me that idea about Ranat. So, at least you get help for something. Point is, that's what happens when you're the last speaker and you're just hearing everyone, so all these ideas just come out at one time. So, point is, yes, Join Buggy. What we are is we're a glorified car rental. Like really, we do is car rentals, but we're glorified because we got into the Uber industry, and Uber is hot now, so we kind of got a little bit on the spotlight from there. But really, we're Biton. We're Chabakot, like the Kranites guys, if you guys know. The guys that do rentals and Kranites. Tough crowd. Okay, point is, we're like a regular rental car company. That's my point, okay? And we just got into a space which was unique. I won't get involved with that because I have 2 minutes left. That was quick. I think you went a little quicker than me. I just feel like everyone, by me, you kind of did it too, a lot quicker. Okay. Point is.
Who is the Jewish people?
Point is, so, like you were saying, yeshiva is great. Listen to tell you, you finish yeshiva, you're going to be a lawyer because you know deductive reasoning now, you're into like logical stimulating thought, you know, cause and effect, Payal Nifal, Siva Masuba, whatever else you want to call these stuff, you should become a lawyer. And I disagree. Okay, so as a person that thought that, I took my LSATs to go to law school. And it was great, it was good. I think if you have commitment to anything, I think if you did 8 hours in yeshiva, so you're committed, that means you're ambitious, and I think you can probably do a lot of stuff. I don't think yeshiva is a stepping stone necessarily, or a reaction, of course, to do law school. I think becoming an entrepreneur is a reaction straight from yeshiva. If you were, like you said, if you're a buffer, and you went with Mitzrayim, and you're doing Mitzrayim as a Chabad guy, and then being an entrepreneur it's seamless. It's almost like it's a seamless step. It's like the next step. Like you finish smicha, now you become an entrepreneur. That's the way to roll. So for sure, you all have in your blood. It's that easy. Become an entrepreneur. One word is debt. No, okay, that was a joke. Don't do that. Don't do that at home. Do not try this at home.
That sucks.
Debt sucks. No, pay low interest rates, no, okay. So, I'll give you quickly what I did. So, my cousin, he told me about this, an idea. Fast forward, I went to a store to a car dealership, and I leveraged my credit and convinced them to give me 5 cars, I bought 5 cars. That was $125,000 in debt. This is before we started, okay? That was probably very stupid I would not tell you to do that. But that's part of being an entrepreneur, is if you're risk averse, if you're not into risk, then you'll have a harder time being an entrepreneur. Like you said, you just $10,000. So right away I bought 5 vehicles, and then from there it was leveraging out, and then obviously, okay, this isn't nice. If you're an entrepreneur, what's your next step? So hey, you have everyone now, like you said, it's credit cards, right? So your average, if you did Dan's Deals and whatever else, Little Points Guy, whatever else you're reading, whatever blogs, you probably have $50,000 to $75,000 in your debt facilities that you guys could probably tap into. You're looking at $2,000, that's it? Bad credit, huh? No, okay. So you probably have about 50, your average guy that knows what they're doing, a little bit here, three months into your whatever it is, getting Target gift cards and whatnot. So you probably have 50 to 75 in your debt facilities that you guys could tap into. So that's the first thing. So right away, okay, I don't need funding. I can use my own funding. So as an entrepreneur, you're going to go and you're going to load up on debt, and you're going to buy cars, or you're going to buy shipments of containers of sellout stuff, and just bring them from China and just park them somewhere. And this is awesome, right? And you have a lot of inventory. Then that's the easy step. Now what's the next step? How do you grow from there, right? So the next step is either you tap into family, if you have that rich uncle or rich brother. They're all looking at, okay, you don't have the rich uncle, that's fine. The next step is your friends, right? They all have $50,000 or $75,000 that you can tap into. So that's brilliant. Now here's the thing, it's tricky. Okay, this is tricky because now you're leveraging your friends. Okay, so leveraging yourself. Okay, you can sleep at night. When you start leveraging your friends, that's a lot of relationships are on this. And get this, you can only leverage them once. If it's successful, great, you can keep on doing this the rest of your life. If you mess up at this point, there's no turning back at that point. You probably want to go to a different show, right? So it's a very scary move. I then raised $1 million through leveraging my friends' credit cards. Okay, not either. Don't do this at home probably, but being an entrepreneur, this is a lot of fun. That's what I'm saying. I get up in the morning, I run, because this is what happens when you start leveraging your friends, right? So you start leveraging yourself. You don't have a rich family, so your friends have $75,000 on their credit card, and as long as they trust you and you trust them, and you guys learn smicha together, you did little farbrengens, you got drunk once together, whatever it is. And I'm not asking questions that you guys got drunk together. I'm not getting involved with that. I'm just saying. Point is, then you start leveraging your friends out, and now you raised $1 million. And now, proof of concept's there. Then you probably can go to funds and start raising money. But long story short, because I don't want to bore you with details, it's awesome. 2 days before my wedding, I had the biggest meeting of my career, and that's when I struck a deal with Uber, which is we're a partner with them to source us drivers. And at that point, like he said, they asked you questions like, "Oh, how many cars do you have?" I'm like, "A few hundred." We had 25 cars, right? So I just populated VINs, right? That's the way it works, and we're still trying to get to a few hundred. Like it took a few years, but whatever. The point is, yeah. So as an entrepreneur, you're going to leverage yourself out. That's part of being it. Things that I've learned from just my story of 2.5 years of, first of all, Robert Wardy helped a lot, that's great. There's a lot of funds out there, there's a $25,000 interest-free loan, Gamach, that denied us 3 times. I wanna go there right now and open the safe. Okay. Okay, maybe cut, could we cut that for a second? It was so hard to get money, and every time, I did not, I started myself, and then I would switch the idea with like my wife's name. Like that's what he was telling me, switching no, and they rejected everyone. Like, oh, you're related, there's a connection. Point is, so it's hard to raise money. The point, back to what I'm saying, the different, the things that I've learned through my experience being somewhat an entrepreneur, I would say 30% of being an entrepreneur is risk. Risk, right? If you're a guy that doesn't like risk, if you're an accountant, I don't mean any stereotyping, but if you're an accountant, I happen to be an accountant, by the way, so you don't want to do your taxes by me, but if you're an accountant and everything, you're anal and everything has to, it's a box, then being an entrepreneur is going to be a little harder for you because risk is a huge part, probably 30% of being an entrepreneur. The next thing I would say, and that's what you touched upon a little bit, is defiance, persistence, hustle. That is 60% is just every day going out there and pounding the pavement is a huge part of it, and not letting rejection get to you. Like, there is a sticky factor, what I call the sticky factor. You can vote what you want. You kind of made it up in the way here. I like it. In the first 6 to 12 months, if you don't see any success in whatever you're doing, you are going to burn out. That's the way it is. If you play basketball, you don't score a shot for 3 games in a row, I doubt you're going to go back to the Alitaira gym and play basketball. Especially if the court is pretty messed up.
They did it over.
I go there every Monday. I know they did it over. Okay, you bounce the ball. Okay, I won't get into it. Could you? Okay, the point is, you need to find some success. I have friends that start on Amazon, and we talk about it. I always tell them, listen, even if you're selling stuff at cost, or you're making pennies on the dollar, just to see some traction is a huge deal. You need to see traction in the first 6 to 12 months. If not, 85% of startups close down, and I don't think it'll be any different unless you're extremely defiant, unless you have crazy stamina. I think you're gonna burn out. So you want to have, that's 10%. You got to be lucky for that. But huge defiance and keep it going, and then opportunity, which is bracha and mazel. Like, I was in the right place at the right time. That is a huge deal. You want to Google and you found the right person. Part of that is creating your own opportunity, but opportunity is a huge part of that, and you got to be lucky, a lot of bracha, and you have to also try to create your own. Yeah, so those are things I've learned from my experience. Again, I think like everyone else was saying, everyone here is an entrepreneur. You guys could definitely do it. Just maybe don't leverage out your friends that much. Okay, I'm talking from. Okay, good stuff. Thank you.